Welcome to all of you in this second of a series of sharing stories of our neighbors. Doug Zamora migrated from Guatemala City in 1999, and his wife, Cassie, is also here, and two kids are also here. And Doug works as a glass worker by the day. On his spare time, he does some translations from Spanish to English. And welcome, Doug, to share his story. Thank you, Doug.
Hi, everyone. Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. I want to thank you all for taking the time to be in here tonight. I know time is precious, so I want to thank you all. My name is Douglas Zamora, as Frank just said. And, I like to tell you my story. I was born and raised in Guatemala. I was raised in a Catholic environment. My parents were very strict. They were very devoted. So that's the environment I grew up to. I went to Catholic school through all my years, all the way to high school. And, it was a very laid back environment back then, living in Guatemala, it was, back in this, it was great. People so laid back. Nobody was in a daily rush that I see nowadays. We have meals on the table. There wasn't such a things of tablets, phones. It wasn't any of that. So that's the way I remember growing up in Guatemala. I also, I'm sorry, but I am a little nervous speaking in public, as you can see. I came here in 1999 when, I decided that my brother was living here already, and I wanted to have a better future, better opportunities. And I had the opportunity to come to the United States with a visa. My brother was living here in Columbia Heights, and I was able to come to his house and stay with him. I remember when I came, it was on December of 1999, and it was prior to the holidays, and I don't think I couldn't choose worst time to come here, being that all the prior to the holidays, being together with family, but I made it through. I remember there were days that I was lonely, I was sad, I was crying. I wanted to come back. I don't know if I made the right choice. So I was able to make it. I had in my mind that I want to live the American dream. I came here to make my dreams come true. So it took a while, but I was able to get over it. That's the way I put it. It was really hard to be able to get around, not speaking the language. I didn't have a car. I didn't know how to drive, or I didn't have a license. So it was very hard to do all those things, to socialize with people. After a while, my brother got me a job of where I currently still working now. We're talking about 16 years ago. So I was able to keep a job there. I started just as a helper. Like I say, trying to speak with people was really hard. You know, you just want to tell a funny story. I think it was funny to me, though. You know, one time there was a guy say at work. He said to me, "Hey, follow me." I stood still there, didn't move. So he left. Here's my friend that speaks Spanish. I told him, "Hey," he told me to follow me. What did that mean? He said that he wanted you to go with him. Here comes back. I'm like, "Where were you? I told you to follow me." I'm like, "Oh my God." So I'm like, I didn't know what to do. You know, it was really hard. It was really hard. So that made me think about it. All right, I need to learn the language. Well, after a while, I met, which is now my wife, Cassandra. I met her. She doesn't speak Spanish. So I feel in need to speak the language. Right? I mean, you know, I had to. I mean, so I was very much made myself, okay, I gotta learn it. So she was a great help. She helped me a lot, even though I didn't speak too much, but she tried. So that was great. You know, getting around, it was just hard. I was able to get my license and, you know, drive from place to place. Now, 17 years later, I am at this same company as where I started as a helper to production worker to an apprentice. Now I became the lead person of the thermal department. So it's been a great ride. I enjoy what I do, and don't let anybody tell you that you cannot do this, because you can do it. I get to see a lot of diversity, which is great. I love diversity. I like my kids to be around diversity. I want to expose them to the real world. I get to talk to people on the store. I get to help the people in the store. You know, as Frank mentioned, I became a Spanish interpreter. The reason I became a Spanish interpreter is because I feel that I needed to get back to people. I had a hard time understanding. I cannot imagine people going through something medical, illness, serious, not knowing the status, their future, not understanding. So that's when I decided to become an Spanish interpreter. I feel that I needed to help out my community. It's such a rewarding job that is, I enjoy doing it. Columbia Heights is a great community. It's a great people. It's a lot of diversity. I get to be in part of this congregation, and I count them as my family, because they've been so welcoming to me and my family. Thank you very much.